welcome to the block live code session hosted by Cleary, featuring a new visual artist today, Unknown Deleter, well known for their incredible Strudel music, now also JavaScripting in visuals. And another newcomer this week, lanegramvp. Who am I to say newcomer? I might still be new in the grand scheme of things, but a new name tag to me. Here I am in the top left. Oh, today I have a new pointer. Okay. The opening is very chill. It's coming from this region. We're getting a lot of E Phrygian, E1 Phrygian, and E3 Phrygian. The number behind the E selects the octave that the scale is going to play in. So E1 is the lowest melody playing right now, and E3 is being covered by two different parts, one sine and one sawtooth. I do think that's a curious choice or selection because putting a sine and sawtooth in the same octave is going to have some masking effect pretty often, because the sine wave is going to be masked by the sawtooth, meaning that there's some overlap and the sawtooth will dominate. One way to solve this would be by moving the sine wave to a higher register, such as E5 or E6, so that it can stand out on its own. Or you could change the sound from sine into something contrasting to sawtooth. But because sawtooth is an extension of sine, it could easily mask the motion there. Maybe that's the intent right now. It's a very nice sound, and it's very chill, and is a very good opening for what's about to come, I think. Hello, Swan. Swan has joined the chat. Here's Swan. Over here on the bottom left, we see Unknown Deleter performing some Hydra code. Hydra is, like Strudel, also written in JavaScript, and is for live coding visuals. And this is a special version of Hydra, which is also connected to Strudel, so that the two systems can run and share information, such as tempo, across the two. It's my understanding. So we see Unknown Deleter currently writing with OS20. OSC is a source. Hydra has things called sources, and there's just a few kinds. OSC is a black and white oscillator, which will render black or white or the grays in between. And the next line where we have mult, we're multiplying this oscillator by another oscillator, which means that the final value is kind of like FM synthesis but for visuals. We're rotating it by a function that's going to, oh yeah, I love this trick. You pass in a function and you use the global variable time and divide it by 4 so that this number always gets bigger. And now we're coloring it with RGB, with full red channel, no green channel, and 33% of the blue channel for this rich magenta. And we're writing the canvas out to the main buffer. There's 4 default output channels you can write to, but only 0 is displayed to the screen. And by using arrays, you can have an alternating sequence, so it will pattern between the time over 4 and the time over 3. The pattern API for Hydra is modest compared to Strudel. Hydra has been around oh my goodness, since at least 2019, I will say, because I was using it then. And it hasn't changed that much. Strudel certainly has a lot more live development. I think Strudel also aims to support a lot more diversity in its output. Hydra can tend to look very Hydra, but it's a great tool, and you know, in a pinch, anyone who knows JavaScript can also be a visual artist. Okay, back to the music. I love this really blippy square wave that Swan added here. You see that this is an E4, and compared to the sorry, I'm using a video player for the first time with a mouse so I can show you my pointer. Sorry for the discontinuity, I accidentally scrolled the wheel. We see that the bouncy thing down here is in a different register compared to the E's. This gives you an extra opportunity to review that and see it happening in real time. So these are 1 octave lower than these, and these are 1 octave lower than these. On this E4 Phrygian pattern, that's a sawtooth, we see that it has a decay of 0.2 seconds, an amplitude modifier of 0.5. We're going to take 0.15 seconds, 0.15 seconds to get to our loudest moment. And I'm not sure how release behaves in Strudel for sample players. Sustain, for example, tells you the value that you're going to turn down to after your attack time. Maybe release describes that duration, but decay describes that duration, which is already set to 0.2. So if it takes 0.2 seconds to fall down to 0.1, I think is a default value. I don't know what happens after that 0.1. Maybe that's how long it takes to get to 0. We should double check instead of guessing. And this low pass filter value is only letting the values 2000 Hertz and below in frequency pass through. And overall, we have some pretty strong low pass filters. This one has an even more extreme low pass filter of 250 on the E Phrygian oboe sawtooth combo. And this bright bouncy one that just arrived definitely has the high filters allowed through, and we can see that here. In the high pass filter 1000 call towards the bottom of the screen, it might be out of view for you, but it's on this moving Phrygian pattern. Okay, so now we're not just stuck on one kind of E Phrygian, but we've got a pattern of the scale that we're going to select from. And oh, it looks like I edited this pattern and I tried to select values that are strongly related to E. But I did want to move us away from the key of E Phrygian because while it's a good place to start, it's not a great place to stay for 1 hour. So I've used some relative keys to E. I used the B relationship, which would be 1 crank on the gear of harmony to the right, and the A relationship, which is 1 crank on the gear of harmony to the left. So these are just the left and right neighbors to E. They have also been put into different octaves though, just because you can also do that, and why not? The code I'm working on right now, I started doing this thing where I use comments to prepare some code, so that my intermediary of text doesn't disrupt evaluation of the cell overall. This view variable, and I accidentally used the variable window, which it wouldn't let me do because that's already occupied by the global variable window. But the idea here is creating a bandpass filter. So view would be the starting point, and window is how wide that window reaches, that view from that starting point reaches. It can be a neat trick, especially whenever you use Strudel patterns to automate the filter value. And we want to use a multiplier here because frequency works logarithmically. If you add it instead, you wouldn't get as drastic of effects that align with how our human hearing works. So I prefer, whenever doing any kind of frequency effects, such as filters or additive synthesis, to work in the multiplicative domain. So what the span variable, now correctly renamed from window into span, is going to take that view, and here we're going to pattern how wide the bandpass window is. So currently the value is 100 for the starting frequency, and when we multiply view by 1.25, it becomes 100, a window passing through 100 to 125, and then the next value in the pattern generates a window between 100 and 150. And so the final one in this case would be, I have a mouse, I can show you. The final one would be 100 multiplied by 2.1, so 100 to 210, right? And those values, of course, can be patterned further for even more interest. This is a way that you can create a well-scoped or well-shaped sound that is sculpted into a specific part of this audio spectrum. And I like to do that because whenever you can place your instrumental parts well in the spectrum, there's less conflict between them. It's cleaner for your ears. It's similar, to example, to creating like boundary lines. If you imagine in a cartoon, or in this visuals right now, this is a Voronoi source. Oh yes, here we can see a known deleter used the Voronoi. We've changed from an os to Voronoi, which is a way you can plot data or create art. And so a filter, a bandpass filter, is creating a bounded box, right? So even though this Voronoi pattern has many different shapes in it, they each have their own bounding area. And that's what a bandpass filter is kind of doing in frequency domain. Ooh, I hear some strings. But the easier it is for your ears to listen to a sound, or collection of sounds especially, all performing in parallel or performing concurrently, you want to make it easy for your ear to hear them, so you want to give them clear transients, clear starts and ends, and a timbre or face that doesn't vary too much. It's a reliable view onto that melody. This is a really, really beautiful mix right now. There's a great counterpoint going on. This scale pattern is a beautiful pentatonic rising and falling motif that creates a nice canvas for these other melodies to call and respond to. There's also this quarter tonal. It doesn't sound like notes on a 12-tone spectrum, and so it's going between the notes of the piano. It might be FM synthesis. Oh yeah, I see some FM synthesis here. So that's a possible contributor to this sound that it's this, I'll try to sing it. It's that low, murky sound. I'm really not sure where it is and what's producing it in the mix, but my best guess might be the thing that has an FM on it, because FM can produce that warble. FM synthesis can produce sounds that will inherently have a quality of pitch bend or vibrato to them. It stands out in the mix because it does not fit into the 12-tone system, but it's not offensive or disruptive to the other instruments, which are, because it fits in a different spectrum. It's in the low frequencies, contrasted to the contrapuntal melodies in the higher frequencies. That flute is so beautiful. Or is it a violin? J-pads, maybe? Yeah, someone else likes them too. J-pads. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Aww, I love this gradient coming in over the Vernoy. It's like a sunrise. Oh, unknown deleter added a gradient. This is how you can mix different sources in Hydra. Gradient is another source kind, and .add is one function that you can use to combine. It takes one argument. The first argument is the source to add, and the second argument is the mix, which looks like it's being the default value right now of 50%. After that, this pixelate call is being applied to the sum of the two. So, well, it got deleted. Hydra does a lot more object-oriented chaining. Yes, noise is another source type. Contrasted to the Voronoi, this one's a lot more bubblier or blurrier. It's less defined boundaries, much more morphing. Let's look at the J-pads. So here is the sound J-pads. We're going to slice the sample into 24 segments, and then we're going to pattern them, perhaps. Let's see what the slice function does. Dare I step away from here now? No, I'll come back to that later. Well, the JPads have gone out of view. We'll have to come back to that. But in its place, we see A3 Aeolian. Yes, you see I've been updating our keys. So now I've been progressing us into a Aeolian, which, for the particularly astute, might notice that this isn't particularly different from E Phrygian, because both of them are aliases of C Ionian, which I also put in there somewhere, just as an Easter egg. Yes, they have different names, A Aeolian or E Phrygian or C Ionian, but they all have the same underlying structure. If you put each of those into a bag and drew from them randomly, 3 different bags, the outcome result set, you would not be able to tell which note came from where. Assuming that this is all in the same octave. If you put them in different octaves, sure. But structurally speaking, those modes are all harmonically equivalent because they're all the basis modes from C major. There's not really a term for that, but my point is, if you really wanted a distinct Phrygian quality, we would instead be changing E Phrygian to a different Phrygian. So, for example, G Phrygian or A Phrygian. My goal in using these harmonically equivalent modes was to, 1, introduce the modes in a friendly way, put more words on the screen that will come up again later, but do so in a way that will not disrupt the jam. Yeah, so there for a moment, we have E3 Aeolian on a buffer in the top right cell under here, underneath Aeolian. And we heard a bit of harmonic clashing, just briefly. A Aeolian at the same time as E Aeolian is indeed a harmonic device that you can use. Here it is. There it is. And then just went back to E3. But that was a pretty good experimentation. lanegramvp. So thanks for experimenting with those. Ooh, this plug synth is so nice. Oh, sorry, I'm getting excited. The synth didn't go full acid yet. We definitely have a lot of experiments going on. I love how the chill jam has slowly been devolving into this. The visuals right now are pretty nice. It's a really good gradient between red and green. Very well done. It's not abrasive. It feels like a good gamut of colors that are supportive. It's not even animated right now, but it has some momentum, or has a bit of kinetic energy, just because of the way that the dark pixel squares and the pixelated groups and the light ones are laid out next to one another. Oh, I found a bass drum, SBD. There's two kinds of bass drum, SBD or BD. This one is using a .b function. Oh yeah, that's still one I have to look up. I need to like write it down. I can write it down right now. Okay, I have to look up the beat function and args to the slice, the second argument to the slice function in Strudel. Let's do a snapshot analysis of everything going on sonically, from lowest to highest. The lowest element would be the kick drum right now. It's got a broken pattern. It's not a 4-to-the-4 pattern, which is nice. Next to that would be the bass line, which has been going in and out every other phrase, and has now changed its rhythm and melody. And has apparently, there we go, yeah, it's hard to point out because the bass is coming in infrequently, but it's an interesting effect. I'd say the midpoint is the pentatonic scale that's been going on in the background the whole time. And then above that is this pluck. And also the clap or hi-hat maybe? Momentarily the kick drum did some pitch sweeps like that. Yeah, we're hearing it now. The normal thing for kick drums to do is to reach into the high frequencies on a sweep basis. So it's a frequency sweep, pitch sweep. I call it a cherry kick, like sweet cherry fruit. Okay, the beat does seem to be a bit dragging. There's an amount of stagnation that I'm starting to feel antsy about the mix. If I were at a club, I would probably leave the room to go get some water. It's the pentatonic thing again! What am I doing? Here I am, I'm browsing. Oh, FM synthesis. I was doing some FM, I'm patterning the FM arguments now. Oh, I'm working on that pentatonic melody now. I'm changing the sound so it's doing something a little different. FMH is a way to manage the harmonics that are applied in FM synthesis, and the FM function itself, I think, is the index of modulation. Strudel's FM synthesis API is really nice, and I think that they even do some implicit bandpass filtering, because I never seem to get things that alias terribly. It can be really easy to get bad sounds with FM synthesis, like how would you ever use this sound? But I don't get that nearly as often in Strudel compared to compared to Super Collider. I made an FM synth generator once in Super Collider. And one in Rust too. I don't use FM synths that much. I guess I just like additive synthesis more. I like knowing what's in my sound. Sure, you have a bandpass region in FM synthesis, but you don't really know exactly what's in there unless you do an FFT, and well, I just prefer to know up front. Animate every harmonic on its own. That is the beauty of FM synthesis, is these sounds do tend to have more character to them. It's not a static sound. Instead, it does have some evolution over time. Contrasted, for example, to samples. To get that to work, though, you do also have to modulate the index of modulation, or ratio, FM ratio. Otherwise, your FM synth will also just be a sampler, basically playing pre-pitched per key. But the difference between FM samples and any other kind of recorded sample is the recorded samples are stuck, but the FM samples are basically just created on the fly. They're sampled in real time. Which means that when you update the synthesis parameters, you're genuinely creating a distinct, measurably different sample compared, and that's not something that happens. Well, okay, yes, if you do any of the other Strudel stuff to samples, like using the speed function or ADSR envelopes, it's measurably different. But in terms of timbre, it's really difficult to do anything except raise or attenuate, to boost or attenuate frequencies in pre-recorded sample. But FM synthesis and additive synthesis, you can do whatever you want at any point in time. So that's just, if you're not using constructive synthesis models yet, I encourage you to start doing so. Constructive synthesis models like FM synthesis and additive synthesis, they operate on a basis much like Hydra, right? Much like how Hydra over here has a noise and gradient. FM synthesis and additive synthesis start with source signals and then combine them. Which is contrasted to, we have a beat now, we'll get to that in a moment. I'll finish the synthesis topic. Contrasting it to recorded samples, which once it's recorded, the spectral content is there. Anything else you do is a destructive filter. So you could apply a bit crusher or a saturator to it, that is a destructive distortion. You could apply equalizer to it, or high pass, low pass filter, but that's only boosting or cutting frequencies. We're at no point changing the actual spectral content in the same way that we can out of the box with FM synthesis or with additive synthesis. Nice hi-hats. Yeah, this is a really good top line. It's a pretty good kick too. I don't see the kick pattern. Oh, here it is. Oh, wow. Banger. It's just a classic kick, snare, bass drum, snare drum, bass drum, snare drum. But the first bass drum has got a 50% question mark on it, so it's a coin toss whether or not this event will play. These three are always going to play. This is a nice sound bank. I don't know this one. I'm going to start using it. GNS. It has a really industrial sound to me, that snare drum. There must be another kick drum somewhere. Here it is. No, sorry, that's B2, not BB. Yeah, this is hi-hats. There's bass drum here, but I do hear more bass drum kicks happening when these are not being activated. This hi-hat line is nice, it's very crisp and clean, very tech house. I love short, crispy hats. Just enough to accent the beat to tell you what time it is. Hi-hats are basically the second hand on your clock. I hear a low-range, long pad synth. I'm not in love with it. It sounds like something I would make. Don't you love it when you don't love your own creations? Okay, what am I doing here? So here I've patterned also the modes. Okay, so now this is definitely getting harmonically experimental. Not only are we patterning the tonic, but we're also patterning the other modes. And now I'm introducing Mixolydian and Lydian. And because we're doing a 3 pattern here in angle brackets, but a 2 pattern here in angle brackets, because it's 2 binary patterns, there's this outer pattern, and then this inner pattern. This is actually super experimental because it is producing a wide product of different scale and mode patterns, which isn't very cooperative to other melodies or harmonies. Should I keep scrolling? Apologies. Oh, well, it's about to go out anyway. But, it is nice to do that occasionally. You can break harmony for a moment. It's, one way you can actually do transitions is to overcrowd, basically deliberately perform in more key than one at once, more than one key at a time, kind of overloading the tonal spectrum, which is going to then let you take one away, right? So if you start in key A, for example, and then you move into key B, just symbolic A and B, whatever they are, if you do that by juxtaposing, superimposing, literally parallel performance of B and A at the same time, it will be momentarily discordant. The level of dissonance will depend on how far apart those two A and B terms are on the gear of harmony, or circle of fifths. And whenever you then remove the A channel, you remove the A segment, you're left with just B, but suddenly it feels so much cleaner. It feels like the rain clouds have moved away and now it's a bright visibility. Even if it's a minor situation, right? Even if you have the minor over minor mashup like that, it still adds clarity, because minor and darkness aren't necessarily the same thing. Oh man, I wish I could spiel my entire perspectives on the major-minor duality, but that is... Oh, we have another crash. Maybe it's time to spew it. Holy lag. Yeah, I didn't notice any lag coming from that pattern myself. Swan just uncommented this underscore. It was underscored. Yeah, this pattern's not... Well, it has some commas here, so I know commas are going to make 3 copies of it. But these angle brackets do not use commas. We do have 1 comma here, so this is producing 6 channels. Maybe that is too many. I should try to limit it to 4. But Swan's helping out, so that's good. Thanks, Swan. this note syntax is, because it has the .scale function call here, we're selecting scale degrees. And this add, Swan just deleted the third term, but it was doing add 0 to 4, which means that it's always going to be performing a full chord, a fully resolved major or minor chord or diminished chord, because it's drawing from different modes, or perhaps even augmented chords if you go to the right mode the right way. I don't think you can do that actually, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Anyway, yeah. So by putting this add here, we are to the very bottom of the screen, adding scale degree selections. This is separate and distinct from chromatic index selections. You can achieve the same thing in a similar way, but it would be different values. You would not use add 0, 2, but instead by adding the number of semitones away from where you want to harmonize from, as opposed to adding from the number of scale degrees. One more way to view that is scale degree reference is like looking at the index into an array, whereas chromatic selection is looking at the values of the array. Plug, 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 plug. This sound... Oh, Cleary's doing something up here with piano arm with the... This sound... I cannot identify what is doing it. And it just scratches my brain in a way. It's not a way that I would choose it to be scratched, but I'm not unscratching it. I mean, I'm letting it scratch. Piano's G10 with some room. Room 2 is putting some reverb onto this piano sample. Mask is acting as a gatekeeper to the sound overall. Post-gain 0 is effectively muting it, and then putting it to 0.7 will turn it down some. Panning it will put it into the left or right hand position of the stereo field. We'll pan the value 0.5 is default in the 0. Pan and Strudel takes arguments from 0 to 1, 0 being left and right being 1. So it does also depend on a stereo playback system. If you have a mono playback system, the pan function does nothing. Or audio capture system for that matter either. If you're capturing mono output, not stereo output, then the pan function will also not be useful there. Hey, in the top left we have some new Strudel. Looks like we have a known diluter working on a bassoon line, and I'm preparing a hi-hat line with the TR-909 bank. TR-909, that's a Roland drum bank. Well, it's a Roland drum machine. These are samples from that drum machine. It was used in so much house and techno music, still is today. It's a timeless and classic drum sound. Here I am again practicing this comment before I eval, so that I can prepare this whole line of JavaScript before offering it to Strudel evaluation runtime. And yeah, I haven't seen this syntax before, specifically the .add.out. I was wondering if that should be a comma, open parentheses here. But yeah, I'm not familiar at all with that kind of syntax. Oh, we have a new drum sound. This rim and clap, that's really nice. And ride. Yeah, this is a really good combination of drum samples over here on the bottom right. hi-hat. Rim is the rim of a snare drum. Hi-hat is the cymbal. Clap is here. CP is clap. Hi-hat again. Hi-hat. 3 hi-hats and then an open hat. But it looks like the 3... Oh no, there it is. Yeah, those events weren't always getting triggered. It can be tricky sometimes for me to tell how index in patterns are selected. Oh, I'm doing some Euclidean rhythms up here. A 9/12 pattern, trying to get some calypso vibes. And alternating between a 12 and 8 pattern I thought might be interesting because it's basically combining a bass 3 and bass 2 system. The 12 is both bass 2 and bass 3, so I thought it would be a good experiment. And over here, I'm offsetting that second one. Every other time that it plays, it's going to have an offset of its Euclidean pattern. This way, the pattern string in its entirety takes a total of two run-throughs to evaluate, 2 passes over it, 2 iterations in order for it to complete or read out the entire rhythm. Overall, the jam today has been very blobby. It still has a very E Phrygian feel. It still feels like we never left E Phrygian, or in other words, we never left C major or A minor. We did explore a lot of different modes around it, but that's why it feels overall like a 40-minute amorphous blob, because all we've done is explored the white keys of the piano. There were moments where we used the not white keys, the black keys on the piano, so to speak, but for the majority of this, we've been bound to E Phrygian. I do now see D Mixolydian, thank you Cleary, and we have some B4 Phrygian over here. Let's see, how related are those? Well, D Mixolydian is the same as G Ionian, and B Phrygian is the same as G Ionian. So D Mixolydian and B Phrygian are also aliases of one another. And G Ionian would be a kind of relative major to E Phrygian. So it's basically like we swapped one of the white keys on the piano for one black key, F sharp. We took out the F natural key and replaced it with the F sharp key to go into the overall key of G major. So we've gone from C major in the big picture. I know it said E Phrygian, but I'm calling it C major because that's how I would analyze it in terms of the overall harmonic space. It's living in the space of C major. And then we are now in finally the space of G major. They are right next to each other on the gear of harmony, so it doesn't feel that different, and it really comes through in the music today. I hope we can do more hopping around the harmonic gear in the future. At least that's what excites me, but I'm a jazz head. So, you know, if you want to, you can. It's a nice new bass line. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, a non-deleter's doing this thing! Yeah! So this is a harmonic tempo. And by multiplying 4 by 5 and 4 by 5 again. Oh no, but this is also JavaScript, and that might be 4 divided by 5 times 4 divided by 5 times 1. Well, this is also in Hydra, and this is a BPM value for the BPM of the visuals, so it's not actually affecting the audio right now. But I like what I see. The idea of harmonic tempo is that there are nice ratios that give you well-defined rhythmic cousins to your current score. You could always go half time or double time, for example. You can always speed everything up by 2 or drop the tempo by 2. But what if you chose 2/3 instead, 2/3 time, or 3/2 instead, 3/2 time? That's the idea behind harmonic tempo. Here, I'm interpreting this 4/5 as a harmonic value. And compounding it twice, doing it twice, means we're really emphasizing that flavor of modulation. The visuals now are pretty interesting. It has a bunch of multicolored. Well, the individual panels are single colored, but overall they produce a whole gamut of colors. So many cells in many colors, blending and morphing into one another, with this spotlight oscillating from the left to the right between them, orbiting between the left and right half of the screen. This acoustic bass is a really nice touch. Oh, Cleary's bringing in some. Cleary always has so many interesting sample kits. Quite a DJ over here. Brazilian kit. Brazilian music is so gorgeous. They have taken harmony to the max, I think. Brazilian folk music uses full dominant and diminished chords, half diminished chords, in ways that other cultures just don't. It takes jazz music or special pop music or house music to get the same kind of harmonies that Brazilian folk music does more often than we do. I'm using folk music loosely, like Bossa Nova is a style that's not quite folk. It does take a lot of discipline to play it, but it is a Brazilian style. I think. Oh, I'm second guessing myself. Oh no. Antonio Carlos Jobim and Stan Getz, Carlos Roberto. These are all, Bossa Nova champions, and they're Portuguese, Brazilians, Portuguese singers, speakers, and living in Brazil, right? Sorry, that was a barely related tangent to the word Brazil. This sample bank, called Brazilian Kit, must have some sample named Perk, which Cleary is summoning 8 times per cycle. Oh no, but there's a dot at the beginning, and it's breaking the syntax. Yay! No! Yay! Oh, swing by! I've been looking for that. Thanks. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah, swing is a great way to change up rhythm. And a really cool thing you can do is use some different swing levels of swing too, right? Maybe one is going to swing by 1/3, but a different one's going to swing by 1/8. Every other note is still going to line up in the same place. So every even note will, but all the odd numbered notes are going to be on their own grid. So swing is basically like an easy and cheap way to maximize your... in music, I think 50% is your max. You can do anything up to 50%, and then the other half needs to be something else. Which can be applied in so many recursive ways. It can be a bit tricky to wrap your head around it, but in this scenario, the thing where 50%ing is how much off the beat we're swinging. So, the basic swing algorithm is, imagine you have a series of uniformly spaced events. Say that they take 2 seconds between each of them. Well, if you want to swing it in 2 seconds, you can't really swing it 2 seconds. This is just for illustrative purposes. The values would look more like one half beat or 1 beat, not second. Okay, and so the swing algorithm is that you are going to take all the every other note, the notes not on the downbeat. So if you have beats 1, 2, 3, 4, the notes that will get swing are 2 and 4. Notes 1 and 3 are going to land right on the beat where you expect, but like notes 2 and 4 are going to be offset by some amount. And the amount that they're offset is the argument to that swing function over here, the swing by. Now commented out. I'm not sure what the second argument here would be doing, but you know, swing can be implemented in a variety of ways, but this is the classic. It might have even been on the Roland drum machine that invented swing in drum machines. I believe it was Roland who did that. But that's how they did it, and for many others who derived swing, they end up rediscovering the same algorithm. And it's the same algorithm that jazz musicians naturally use. And some even say that Baroque music had some swing to it. Baroque musicians were not performing even steady streams of eighth notes, but actually had a bit of a lilt to it. Similarly, Baroque musicians didn't have an equally tuned keyboard like we did. They did have full chromatic modulation, but because of the way it was tuned, every major and minor key quite literally had a different kind of major and minor on it. That is a topic I touched on a little bit in my article, The Circle of Fifths, at monictheory.com, but it deserves a deeper dive on its own. Let's jump back in here. Oh, I started adding some random names to these patterns, like rock. Oh my goodness, this is quite loud. There we go. Rock, rope, torch, cause, water. I thought those were nice names. What's cause doing? Cause has some notes and rests. This underscore means to repeat the last thing that it was. In this case, it's a 5. But I suppose if it was a pattern, it might be more interesting to repeat that whatever it was. It's alternating between saw, square, and triangle sounds. The vibrato function, we're using the shorthand notation to both set how much it vibratos and the depth of the vibration. The room function gives it some reverb. Pinv, I'm going to guess is a pattern envelope. I'm not going to guess anymore. P attack. Attack, can you even use those together? Well, they are. Attack is how long it takes for the note to get to the loudest moment. We have a pretty good bandpass filter on this. Okay, we're going to orbit 7 and FDSA. Hey, here I am. Oh, it's a kick drum. I think the beat function selects the indices in which you want the beat to be evaluated, quantized into 16 chunks. That's my best guess. Yeah, and every other one, it skips this rest note. And so these are probably unsorted. It's all commas. So this is a very different kind of syntax compared to, for example, note definition, because commas here did not create distinct channels, but instead describes all of the indices in which to place the object, in this case, a bass drum. I loved making big fat kick drums, so I put both BD and SBD here. I also did some comments on the speed. You know me and my harmonics. There's harmonic values, 1.25, 1.0, 2/3, 1/2, things like that. Because when you repitch the samples into harmonic values, the overtones, that is the actual spectral components, will line up naturally. They will line up in a way that our ear appreciates. If you use complex ratios, you'll get complex sounds, which our ear only likes sometimes. The background is pretty compelling now. So up to this point, there's been pretty much a whole field of view, but now we have a much more filtered field of view. And this really beautiful watery oil water texture, it looks like basically white water and black oil, not mixing. And it's fading in and out, such that there's times whenever just small pools are bubbling through, creating eddies of... oh, the sitar was beautiful. Yeah, the sitar was such a good move. Who did that? Where is it? It's over here somewhere. Oh yeah, here's me and my kick drums. As soon as I heard the sitar, I knew it needed a delay. So here we all crowdsourced the sitar. Cleary's like, nope, I'm just doing something else. Cleary's hanging out. It's good to chill sometimes. Whoa, so bright! That would be the brightness function. Over here, unknown deleter is editing how bright the visuals are using the brightness function. Hydra is a lot of fun. It also is really easy in Hydra to load external images and videos. There's a great demo of how to do that on the OJack XYZ GitHub README for Hydra. Olivia Jack is the creator of Hydra. A Bolivian artist, I believe, living in Bolivia. Colombian, pardon me. The ojack.xyz, hydra.ojack.xyz is how you can get to Hydra. We are still over here in Strudel too. I'm working on that kick drum some more. So let's do a snapshot of sound, the lowest to highest. Lowest is the kick drum. Next up I think would be the cowbell. And then this thing. Oh, I love that dirty kick sound. See how complex it got whenever we added these non-normal ratios? It's actually, I think, the biggest reason for that is the super slowed down 0.5. So we're playing the sample at 5% of speed, and that's going to actually hide most of the sample. And what it will do is bring all the high frequencies of the original sample down into a more visible range. And because those frequencies already had a very rapid amplitude envelope, they already faded out very quickly. Now we've slowed it down by 20 times, and so it creates this natural decay whenever you slow it down that much. There was a big crash, and then because I like to use a variable, I accidentally prevented the host from reevaluating easily. The variable is called one cycle. And here it says reference error, one cycle is not defined. But I assure you, the music was fantastic. I was still jamming with Swan here, and the sitar was beautiful, and we had so many great moments without you. So you just need to come into Flock and jam here with us, so you get the good stuff whenever the server dies. Thank you so much for joining today, and thank you to the musicians. Yes, unknown deleter is correct. This was a really nice jam. Cleary is letting us know that the code doesn't work after refresh. It's good to communicate that because I did not know that whenever it happened until Cleary wrote it. Yeah, I'm still learning how to be a good collaborative live coder. I do wish there's a bit more predictability, because sometimes it seems window assignment works and sometimes it doesn't. And that is a crutch I'm not willing to give up, is the one cycle variable, so I need to find another way to... because one cycle is one with eternity. It is undeletable, I say. On that note, though I have no sound and no pick, wait till you get it back. So I will cut the stream. See you!